Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be reunited with Ryan with his movie, Courage. Let's take another clip.
Whoa! Oh no! I'm stuck! You have to get me out of here.
I don't know if I can.
Come on, you can do it. Okay, I'll get you out of there. Hold on!
We have to hurry.
Luke, get over here.
Ryan, welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's been 5 years since your last film with us. It's amazing.
It has.
Well, listen, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for bringing Courage to us. Oh my goodness, what a brilliant film you made. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah, so Courage is the story of Luke, a 6-year-old boy who is just trying to navigate the world while his mother and him are getting evicted from their trailer. And it's told through his perspective and through the perspective of his favorite comic book superhero, Captain Courage.
It's such a touching movie, and I'm so glad that, something you could have easily gone from the adult lens, you took it through the lens of this 6-year-old boy, because it's so much more of a different way to navigate problems and changes and hardships as a 6-year-old. Really beautiful story. Where did this moment, inspiration for you, come to wanting to turn it into a film?
Yeah, so prior to moving it here to Los Angeles, I was working in nonprofits and boys and girls clubs, youth programs, that sort of thing, with young kids all the time. And a lot of them, they had the most wonderful outlook on their circumstance, no matter if it was great or something that would make most people say, whoa, that's like too much for an adult to handle, let alone how is a kid handling something like this? And after, talking to kids who they were unhoused or they didn't know where their next meal were coming from, and they still had such an innocent and optimistic and just innocent view of the world, I kind of wanted to try and present a story, one that most adults would feel really empathetic towards the kid, but also tell it through that kid's perspective, through that optimism and just like innocence. I wanted to kind of present that a little bit.
Yeah, it's so crazy because it's a sad fact that we're in this city alone, in other states, in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world, there are 6-year-old kids going through this, right? And it was so touching in a way that he found his courage through this superhero. It was a really great dynamic. And how did you go about bringing Captain Courage into it? And was that always an element you wanted to bring into the film, as opposed to just singly kind of looking at it through the lens of him, but his heart and his hardship?
What I wanted to do with the comic was really have a way for Luke, the 6-year-old, to relate to his world through what he sees. And he sees his favorite comic book characters or, action figures or TV shows and cartoons and that sort of thing. So I wanted to really make it something that what most kids do, which is, they only know what they see, and he sees this character so much. I wanted to do my best to bring that to life.
I just loved it. It was a reminder that when we've maybe gone through traumatic things in our families or anything else, whether it's something we love, we hold on to that, and it was almost like, I love that he just was holding on to this to help him, keep him safe, which I just thought was, whether that was deliberate or not, it just felt so nice, because it reminds us that of what we do need to. We have such limited more knowledge as a 6-year-old of adult things, but it was just beautiful to visually see this relationship. Anyways, in terms of cast and how you brought your cast together, obviously centered around a 6-year-old. How was this casting process for you?
So this one was a very fun process. I had something very specific in my head that I wanted to try and see, and when we cast it, I got very fortunate that I knew immediately who I wanted from their first audition. So I was like, I'm like 99% sure I want this person. I know that they will bring the best of themselves to this role. And for each 3 of these cast members, like I ended up getting exactly who I wanted, and their performances were incredible.
Yeah.
Christopher, who was Luke, he was one of the most incredible young people I've worked with. There's so many people when I'm like, yeah, I'm casting. He actually 8 years old, not 6.
Yeah.
But they were like, ooh, be wary of working with kids and all this. He was the most professional, funny, charismatic, just great kid. Super talented, really helped bring everything together because he is the focal point of the film.
Yeah.
And he just nailed it. Ashley
really
Audison, this was really fun because prior to, I watched her audition tape. I said I really like her. I showed it to a few producers, and like 8 out of 10 people I showed it to was like, oh, I know her. She's really hilarious. And I'm like, hilarious? I had no idea. And one, how do you know her? And she has a wonderful following on social media. She does comedy skits, and I had no idea that was like her thing.
That's so funny.
This was her kind of big dramatic debut, and I was like, incredible. She did so well. And then Ian Fidance was the only person I went into this saying, I think Ian would do a wonderful job with this role specifically. And again, oddly enough, he's a stand-up comedian.
I love how you put everyone comic.
I know.
And then Chris was very funny. I'm like, oh my God, so many.
And I think for whatever reason, their personalities really brought something so fun and interesting and deep and meaningful to the script, and I'm really happy I got everybody. It was such a wonderful experience working with all 3 of them.
I love that. And honestly, your young actor, I mean, was mesmerizing. You carried it through his eyes, his lens, but my goodness me, it's not easy to take on a role at that, especially at that age, but just was transfixed by his thoughts, his emotions, and he gave us so much with his eyes and just, details. So, brilliant cast. Next time do a comedy with him,
I know, now I need to do something like that with everybody.
I think it's so important to, anyone to work with nonprofits and give back, and especially in the weird world of filmmaking, to be able to almost have to work with these different nonprofits to be grounded in the work that we do, but also just, in pure empathy of what's going on in and around us. And I'm curious in that kind of dynamic and idea that you had to sort of create probably an example of what you saw every day in these different family dynamics. What did you want your audience to sort of take an experience from this particular film? Because unfortunately, this is a reality for a lot of people.
Well, I think the biggest piece of this film is there's no bad guy. Nobody. Mike, who's a character who evicts a single mother, he's not a bad guy because he is also struggling with money and needs to be able to make money off of his property. And he can't do that if he's not getting paid. The mom, she's not a bad person. She just doesn't have the means to take care of her son. And obviously Luke is just the one on the receiving end of what life is dishing out. And I think that's a huge thing. Like sometimes there is not one specific person or anybody to blame for circumstances. It's just the way the world unfortunately is, that some people are put in these situations. And it's really just a commentary on what is a better solution than what is happening to people already. Is it to make sure they can't get evicted, but then the person who owns the property can't get it? Is it so that the kid doesn't have to be in that situation, but then he's taken away from a family? Is it that this mother gets the help that she needs, that seems to be the most kind of the less compromise of
Yeah.
situation if there's, you know, the money to do it, and where's our spending
Yeah.
going. So there's a lot of issues and kind of facets of this problem, and this is just a look at it to at least hopefully stir a conversation. I'm not an
Yeah.
expert, I just wanted to kind of showcase what I've seen to hopefully inspire other people to talk more about it.
No, absolutely, you did that, and I think, you know, the money struggle, money stress is a real thing, and, you know, it's multiple layers with each of these different characters and their experiences, and I love that you said there wasn't, you know, a bad person. It was just everyone was just, you know, needing that, you know, that money to get through, you know. So, you know, I think there's so many people around us that are hurting right now from that alone. So I'm glad that you put that take on it. What's it been like taking Courage around? What's the reaction been like for you?
So I've been very fortunate to go all over with Courage and to hear from different people, see people's reactions, and really get a feel for how people are kind of viewing the film. And it's been just incredible amount of support, and you know, really happy with, you know, thousands of people have seen Courage, and that's kind of, as a filmmaker, that's all you can really hope for, is that the most
Yeah.
people possible see it.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy, and it's been just wonderful to bring it around the country and kind of showcase the story.
And unique experience. Obviously, the last time we were sitting in this chair together was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we've grown as human
Yeah.
beings. How much of, I mean, what sort of things have you learned in those 5 years since making that last film to where you are today?
I think the biggest thing for me was I always considered myself a director first and a screenwriter by necessity. I need to tell a story, so who else is going to write it other than me? But over the past 5 years, a lot of my work primarily has coincidentally been writing.
Oh, really? There you go.
So I've really, it was a great experience to try and hone in on that skill set to try and tell the best story possible. And it's one of those things where the most current film you're on, I think, should be your best film ever. And sometimes you look back and you're like, I could have done so much better with this part of this film or this part of that film. But you know, I feel fortunate that I'm still growing and still able to tell stories in unique ways. Or for Courage, it was the implementation of creating a actual world around this superhero, right? We made action figures, we made comic books, we made animations around a whole other world for this character, just to bring it to life for this kid. And just being able to do that sort of thing, it's just always trying to grow and tell stories in unique ways.
Yeah, no, amazing. It's amazing. We'll won't leave it as long next time, but we'll have this conversation in 5 years too as well. See where we're at then. And just lastly, what's next for you?
What's next? So I'm currently working on 2 projects. One is a feature film around similar topics. It's about the unhoused population, and we're following a wonderful, sweet unhoused person as they kind of journey through the system and what sets them up for failure, or kind of similarly actually to Courage, in that it's not about good guy, bad guy. It's not about anything like that. It's about navigating the kind of systems that are set up that seem to be there to kind of set people up to fail, but they're there to help people. It's just not in a way that is really the most meaningful all the time, or the most accessible all the time. And currently, working title is The Low Ceiling, because there's a wonderful James Baldwin quote that I took it from, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I'm going to get it wrong if I try to do it perfect. But it's he's talking about these children in inner city New York, saying that their heads hit abruptly against the low ceiling of the actual possibilities. And the meaning behind it, for me at least, when I read that, was that, you know, there are people who dream so high and just it seems the world is against them, just lowering that ceiling of what their actual possibility will be. And it's so hard to kind of break through that insanely low ceiling of what their life can be. And these are, I think, in essence, the kind of stories that I'm trying to tell is like, what is that like in that situation, and how does one kind of escape it? And what does escape look like? Does it mean a rags to riches story? No, it means somebody going from a situation where they're really, really struggling to they're struggling a lot less. And that's what that is.
I'm so glad you're a filmmaker, Ryan, honestly, because you always, you know, the thoughts behind the work, you know, these are, you give us a slice of people's lives, actual experiences that are thought-provoking, they make us think, they make us learn, they make us educate us, they make us have empathy. And I think, you know, really well done on just, you know, taking an everyday experience and making us all stop, listen, think, as well as be entertained. So well done. I'm ready for this feature. I'm ready. It's in the works, right? So yes. But listen, thank you so much for Courage. And, you know, whether you were just entertained or you learned or educated, it was a film that will make you think twice as you step outside. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ryan, everyone. Thank you.